Hello my friends. Today I thought I would take you through the story of how I went from being a successful managing director of my own bookkeeping company with about 9 staff and 40 odd clients at any one point in time to living a life as a digital nomad in my little tiny home on wheels, travelling Australia. And I guess redefining what success means to me. So I guess I want to start just by saying that I kind of fell into bookkeeping. When I was in school, I actually just sucked at anything academic. I'm pretty sure I failed social studies. I was terrible at maths, terrible at science. I'm a creative at heart, so I really struggled with school. Anything that was, sciencey or maths, I just struggled to hold my attention with it. It was no good for me. It wasn't my path. Anyway, I was doing a bar job at a sporting club and I walked in one day to open up, and one of the bookkeepers, there was 2 bookkeepers there, and she was trying to reconcile the tills from the night before. So she was counting all the cash and making sure that reconciled with the receipts from the till. And she was crying, the poor thing. She just couldn't make it work and she was obviously getting frustrated. But me, myself, I was like, I'm sure it can't be that difficult. I'm sure I can do that. And so then I just kind of put myself forward, because it wasn't long after that she left and I had no problem reconciling the tills. And so what I found, I did wind up becoming a bookkeeper in that for that sporting club, and that's kind of where my bookkeeping career started. But what I find with bookkeeping is that I'm actually a really good organiser. I like to keep things like clean and tidy and organised. And bookkeeping is kind of like keeping your numbers clean. So it's making sure that the numbers are organised and they're in the right spot so that you can create reports that can tell you, give you a snapshot of what's been going on in the company. So I just I just fell into that and I kept going with it. It wasn't something I was passionate about. I was quite a lost teen. I think I thought I couldn't make any money out of being a creative, and maybe that was from my generation, I'm not quite sure. But I really felt like, how am I ever going to make money as an artist, So I kept going with that because I was good at it. So I wound up working for a few different organisations over the years as a bookkeeper, and then I don't know, I'm one of those people that is always searching for more. Like I just feel in my bones that there is more to life than just being in an office. So I kind of went for jobs that were a little bit funky. So even if I was still doing bookkeeping, at least it'd be in an industry I was interested in or something like that. Anyway, I wound up going out on my own and becoming a consultant bookkeeper. So I built my own client base, and really that was I just kind of wanted a bit more freedom around that. I didn't really want to work for anyone anymore. So that was really my only intention when I started. And then I had a close friend of me say, when are you going to start hiring staff? And I was like, oh, I can't do that. And he was like, why? Why hold yourself back? Think big. And I thought, oh, maybe I could. So I wound up, my client base got so busy that I did hire my first staff member. And it turns out that I just loved creating this business. So it wasn't so much that the bookkeeping and the data entry, that didn't interest me so much, but creating the business, it really did, because I had worked for so many different organisations that I really felt like I'd learnt the do's and don'ts of business. So I certainly didn't know it all, that's for sure. There was a lot of learning curves. I wound up growing so fast. I put up a website and within 18 months I wound up selling that business off. So over that 18-month period I grew at a rate of knots, and so I was constantly trying to play catch up. Every time I got a new client I was trying to find a staff member to work with that client because we were completely mobile. So we didn't have a fixed office, I had no overheads, I just hired staff for that particular job, and then I would oversee all the work that they did. So anyway, it really did burn me out, but I'm one of those people that I have always worked very hard throughout my whole life. I if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right and to the best of my ability. So yeah, I wound up selling that business for quite a substantial amount in the end because I had a decent client base. And when I started hiring staff, I actually went and did a course on how to prepare a business for sale. So I'm one of those people that believes in goals and having an end goal in mind. And I think when you have that, then it makes life so much easier to achieve things. So yeah, I sort of created the business with a model that wasn't completely reliant on me. So I created training manuals, I sat with my staff and I trained them in the correct way to do things because every bookkeeper does things slightly different. So I wanted them all to do it in a way that I felt was correct. So yeah, I had staff training sessions and we sort of, anyway, created this business that was not about me. It was the whole business that I had created. So yes, I sold that off and I did feel a little bit lost after that. And I remember that course I did on preparing your business for sale, the gentleman saying that the biggest problem with a lot of when people do this is that they do feel lost afterwards because you've dedicated so much of your life to creating this thing that is like your little baby, and then all of a sudden one day it's gone and then you're like, well, what do I do now? And then you also have a restriction on trade as well when you sell a company. So I couldn't just go and start getting more clients again because I could go and work for someone, being paid by them on payroll, but I couldn't start engaging clients again and building another business as a bookkeeper. So yes, that was the start of my journey as a bookkeeper. And now I'll take you into the change.
Whisper softly that I might see you again. Hold me down and watch the water rise. Pull me out and bring me back into this life. 'Cause I'm ready for a forest fire, forest fire. I'm needing forest fire, forest fire.
So yes, that was my story of how I went from being a business owner to not being a business owner. So after I sold the business, I was feeling lost and I knew I didn't really want to get a job again. I didn't want to do bookkeeping again. And I had this money and I thought, okay, what can I do? I know that I love sustainability. I love the environment, wildlife. And so I thought, what business can I create that will involve that? Because I still hadn't picked up a paintbrush or a pen yet. So I didn't even think about trying to make money as an artist because I felt like that ship had sailed. So I wound up creating a business with my partner at the time, and it was a retail business. And I'd never done retail before in my life. I don't think I had a retail job ever. So what it was a shop that it focused on sustainability. So the items were either completely sustainable, biodegradable, or upcycled. So made from other upcycled materials. And it was actually a lot of fun fitting out the shop because we even did that with all upcycled materials. So we would go to Verge Collections and pick up like those old beautiful doors that you would get from like the 1940s homes, and with the beautiful LED lighting in them, and we'd put those on the front of crates to create cabinets. And funnily enough, I actually went into a shop into Margaret River a couple of months ago because when we sold the business or closed it down, we sold off a lot of the furniture that we'd made. And I went into this shop in Margaret River and there they were, these cabinets that we'd made. Anyway, so we started that shop up, and I think with any business you won't make money in the first couple of years. It's just stock standard generally. So anyway, we did persist for a couple of years and we tried a couple of different locations, but I think we struggled a little bit because we didn't necessarily have the same work ethic or vision for the business. So we wound up closing it down, And that was when we actually went to Canada and tried out van life after that. So I had a very short-lived experience with retail. But like anything in life, sorry, there's a tiny little bird down there distracting my attention again. The little fairy wrens down here are so cute. Sorry. So yeah, that was when we went and did van life, and then I've recalled the story. I came back and felt very lost still, didn't know what to do. And I still didn't want to do finance. I was so tired of it. So anyway, all of that aside, when I started van life, all I knew for sure was that I wanted to be in the van. I wanted to be out adventuring. I wanted to be out in nature. I just wanted to be close to wildlife, like I am right now. So that was all I knew for sure. And I had actually picked up a paintbrush about a year before that. I think it was during COVID, I took up artwork again. So I think I had a little bit more of a thought that maybe I could make money from being an artist. I think I started to explore that a bit more when I started van life. YouTube was not even in my field of vision. I had started a TikTok account, and so I would do some, time lapses of me creating artwork on there. But ultimately I still had in my head that I needed to have a job. And so, I think that's the reality of life sometimes. You need that financial stability of a job. So I did spend about 9 months recovering really, because I'd reached burnout. I hadn't stopped and had a decent break from work for many years. I'd been a single mum and lots of different things. So just living off savings and travelling and sort of finding myself again and just doing artwork. I actually did create a children's book that was around marine life and the impact that rubbish has on marine life. I have taken that down, but it's still on the cards for me to get that going again. I think I just want to change it a little bit before I put it back out there. So I did spend a lot of time focusing on that, and like anything, getting a job, it does create that instant income for you, and I got to the point where I needed that again. So I was still in the frame of mind that the only way to really make income straight away was with a finance job, but I was pretty determined this time that at least it was going to be in an industry that I was passionate about, and that it was completely remote, because I love this lifestyle and I just desperately wanted to keep this lifestyle. So I set that intention and I only looked for those sort of roles. And yeah, one just did come in the nick of time. So then I was able to continue on my amazing van life journey. And in doing that, I've been in that job for 3 years now, and I've been doing YouTube for 2 years now, next month. So YouTube I think my daughter was the one that said I should do that to start with. And it's taken me a long time on YouTube to really work out what videos resonate with people more. And I'm still working it out as I go. But I'm loving it. I think something I really learned is the reason I loved creating business so much was because it was creative. When you're building a business, it is creative, because there's so many different parts of it that you're building yourself and putting your own touch on it. There's all the branding, and when we had the retail store, it was fitting out the store, and there's a lot of creativity to that. So even with the bookkeeping business, it was the same. So because I've done about 3/4 of a graphic design and advertising degree as well. So I've got all that background in creating logos, and I can use all the programs, the Adobe Creative Suite. So everything I've done in my life has contributed to the skill set that I have now. I don't think anything in life is, any experience is ever really wasted. If you're learning something from it, then it's never wasted. So that's sort of where I've come to now, and the next step is getting my website back up and running and just selling prints, because I feel like I feel very in flow with that at the moment. So we'll try that again in another month or so. The website, the shop will be live again. So all of this has really now left me redefining what success means to me. Throughout my whole career, I feel like I have pushed really hard to prove myself. And I think being a female in business, that comes with the territory. And I have found myself in quite male-dominant industries sometimes too. So you just feel like you've got to work that little bit harder to be taken seriously. And now I think success is more about being happy and at peace and doing something that you love. I still enjoy my job. It's obviously not something I'm passionate about, but the industry I'm in, I am passionate about. So I do feel that what I'm doing is going towards a greater good. When it comes to YouTube, I don't see it as a job at all. This is something I would do for free because I love doing it. It's so creative, from filming to putting the video together, finding the right music, finding topics that people are interested in, finding beautiful settings like this to film in. I love doing it, I really do. I do still have in my head that I need 100,000 subscribers to be successful on YouTube. I don't know why. That's probably my own goals, and I think I mentioned goals before, and having a goal, it really does help you achieve more when you are definitive about what you want out of life. It makes life so much easier. When you don't know what you want to do, it's really, really hard. You feel like you're floundering, you're just going through life. So I think success for me is more about knowing where I want to go, but feeling at peace, getting joy out of what I'm doing, being passionate about what I'm doing. Yeah. So I feel at the moment I am successful in many, many ways.
Mountain lines in the distant view, clouds of smoke and all the sky has turned from blue. So passing down is the west to say, houses only used to evacuate. 'Cause I'm ready for a foreign